What's up? What's up? It's April 22nd, 2025, and welcome to another market recap. So I had two trades today, one win, one loss. We'll get into those. This euro, dollar, and euro yen. But the start of the session at 7 a.m., the first pair I had on watch was dollar Mexican. A pretty clear kind of breakout here. This long downward trend, clear, strong break to the upside. CBO breaking both the 10-minute and 2-minute EMAs. We're just looking for a retrace to 0.382 to enter. Never really got it. It retraced a little bit, but it didn't even get necessarily as close as, like a pip or two, like some of those examples that we had from last week. So this just became a no trade. It pushed a target. And at that point, I wasn't interested anymore because it rejected my target area. So clean trade if it would have pulled back. Just never really got the entry. The second trade I had on watch at 8 a.m. was pound yen. And similar thing here, it never really pulled back to give an entry. So at the start of the session, price is roughly here, right? It wasn't super great price action on the 10-minute time frame. Like it's still a lower low at the 10-minute time frame, but it's pretty decent bullish push here on the 2-minute. Is what I was really looking at, and it already had an IBO right here, and now it's push, so it's becoming a CBO. So it's already trending on the 2-minute time frame. But it was the best I could really find in the 8 o'clock hour, but it's a valid setup for a CBO. But again, it never really pulled back. It just continued to push to the target area, and that was pretty much it. So first two trades I had on watch, I wasn't able to enter. And then the 9 o'clock hour, I had euro dollar on watch to start the hour. Right. And this trade was an IBO. And I think it should have probably been taken. So it had really no bullish price action on the 10-minute time frame. So I have like a conflicting bias from the 10-minute time frame, as well as I just formed this high test, which was, right here. So granted, I have a break of the EMAs and I have an IBO-esque setup, but I can't really draw any kind of valid trend line in here. I can't, like it broke an EMA, but it didn't really break trend. Like it's still trending on a 10-minute time frame at this point. And as well as it's really like a retest of these, if I throw in a line right here, copy, throw the same line right here. It's a retest of these previous lows. So it's the first time price has really come back and tested that point. And I saw this retest before I decided to enter the trade. But I decided to take a shot because I've seen stuff where it's bounced off of here because it's technically not gone to my target yet. Granted, it hit a pretty good resistance level right there. And I expected it to force the pullback. I was just kind of hoping for the fact that it hit 0.382 and bounce. And it kind of did a little bit right here, right? Enough so to where I should have gone to P1. So two main mistakes I feel like I made with this trade. One, I took the trade. I think there's a valid reason not to take this trade, and the fact that it's basically rejected the target area, not the exact target, but the target area. It's already rejected it. So usually a trade, becomes a no trade for me at that point. And that's really where this should have fallen into. The second mistake that I made with this trade is that it broke the 30-second 50 And per my rule, when it breaks the 30-second 50, I go to P1, which would be to clip the low, the previous low. So I would clip this low right here, right, on the 5-second time frame. So roughly about removing half or so risk off the table. But I really didn't want to choke this trade. And it, I entered, it came down, and then it started like reversing pretty solidly. Like these candles formed, they were large movements. And so I expected a little bit of volatility. So I didn't want to choke it. So I'm sitting here watching it and have my finger over the button to essentially hit OK. Like I had already gone in on my broker platform and I had adjusted my stop loss to what it should be, which was like 46.90, I think is what it was, just right below. So roughly that area. And I had typed it in. And then price came over here and it started retracing. And as soon as price essentially hits that area where I should have already confirmed the fact of, hey, let's move this to P1, let's make sure I do so on my broker. It tapped below that price. And once it did that, it deleted all my changes. And so I have to like close out that window and then open up another window to actually close the trade. And in the process of doing that, the price pushes a little bit more and then it starts reversing right here. And so I have this other window open at this point to close the trade. But I was just waiting to see if would the price continue to push back up from here or what would happen. But price just started to kind of decelerate to the downside. And so I closed the trade. And when you accounted for spreads and whatnot, it took me out for about a 0.86 R loss. So this should have been a 0.46 R loss. So I doubled my loss on this. So a little frustrating with my own lack of kind of adherence to my guidelines. Really too, I shouldn't have taken the trade because it already rejected the area and I should have gone to P1. So I took this loss quick. I was in and out of this trade in 5 minutes and I started looking immediately for something else to take. And so I found this Euro Yen a little later on in the hour. Pretty solid CBO. This did allow me to draw in a trend line. So I have a clean break of trend right here in the 2-minute as well as the 10-minute. Real solid, bullish price action, a nice clean pullback. I entered this with a limit, but technically you could have entered this live right here too. I also had a beautiful live entry. And yeah, so I managed this trade to plan. So it broke not necessarily when it broke the 30 right here, because it's kind of just sitting on the 30 right there. Price is just kind of sideways, sideways, sideways. And as soon as it started to push up past this consolidation, I moved to P1, which essentially put my stop roughly here, removing 60% of the risk or so off this position. And then I'm just kind of chilling. Price pushes to my 1-to-1. So I went to P2 at that point, which is move the trade to break even because I don't really have anything I can clip yet because price is just trending upwards. And price just continues. It roughly hits about 1.4 R or so. So I go ahead and I lock in my 1-to-1 and move to P3. And then shortly after moving to P3, price retraces and taps me out for a 1-to-1 on this trade. So this trade ended up later on playing out to 2R, but it would have taken a no management style. So I never really would have captured it. So I think I could have, honestly, I don't think I could have managed this any differently. I think I managed this perfectly to plan. I executed it to plan. It was a quality setup. I feel good about, honestly, all aspects of this trade. I think I just really rushed the euro dollar trade. It was the first trade of the day that kind of pulled back and allowed me to enter it. But I should have been a little bit more patient. Or I should have just executed P1. So either way, with the slight loss, the loss on euro dollar and the 1-to-1 on euro yen puts me at like plus 0.14 R for the day. So nothing crazy, but at least able to recapture the loss quickly and within that same hour. The 10 o'clock hour, I had, where are we at here? I had this CBO, and it is a really solid CBO, honestly. Where's my cursor? Lost it. 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock. This is kind of like what we've been experiencing with price pulling back to within a pip or two. I think I was 2 pips away in this example from being able to enter this trade. But a solid CBO, like clear breakdown of trend on the 2-minute. The negative is that at the point of this breakdown right here, I'm sitting on the 10-minute 200. I still have room to move to the 1 hour 50. So I wasn't too concerned about this 200 on the 10-minute. But I do have a clear break of the 50 on both the 10-minute and the 2-minute. So this would be a wave 3 CBO. So wave 1, wave 2 pullback, wave 3 is what I was targeting. But yeah, just didn't pull back enough to allow me to enter. I think this is an example of something I could possibly enter a little bit lower if I did a position something like that, right? Like didn't put my stop at 0.618 and instead like position size it the same is what I'm thinking. Like position size it for an entry at 0.382 with my stop above 0.618 like I normally do. And then just drop my entry point by like a pip or two and then use that position sizing as long as it can still be hit before my target, like before any kind of resistance. So, and that would have worked in this example, and it would have worked in those other examples that we've seen as well. But again, I need to go do some more research. There's that time too. Yeah. So that was the 10 o'clock hour. Really solid trade. Nearly was able to get into it, and it obviously played out pretty quickly. This played out for honestly way more than 2 Rs. You can see right here because it was right there. I mean, if you could have captured potentially probably 8 or so R on this position. If I was able to enter there and just had a little bit of a looser management style, right? So a lot of potential. This is what I've been referencing is like yesterday of being able to time some of these entries perfectly of these daily time frame moves. So being able to enter with a 2-minute setup for really a 1 hour run. And that's exactly what this was. This is a 2-minute entry for this 1 hour run right here. So it'll be dope when we actually catch one of these for the full thing or half of it. So, but really I was just position size for the 2-to-1 and that's what I would have taken on that trade. So, but solid trade. 11 o'clock, I didn't have anything. And then 12 o'clock, I didn't have anything at the beginning of the hour. And then I saw this probably halfway through the hour. And to be honest, I kind of just hesitated on it, right? It pulled back to 0.382 exactly. I mean, it tapped it. This is a clean just tap and go situation. So the only way to get in this trade would have been with the limit order. But it was catchable. And, you know, the 2-minute time frame, solid price action. I really like these kind of setups where it double bottoms, gives some MACD, has a clear break of a trend in the EMA and comes back for a retest. This is what I'm referencing. Like, this is what I should have waited to see on that euro dollar trade that I took. Like I didn't have anything like this. So I didn't really have anything that's going to tell me that price is going to continue going up. And also price had already pushed to my target before it pulled back. So I saw this, I hesitated for a moment, and I was position sizing it in my broker. And while I was doing all that, price tapped and already was pushing roughly here. And at that point, the trade's gone. So I was waited to see if price would retrace, and it never really did. It just continued and pushed right to target. So, and if I was able to enter the trade, I likely would have captured the full two, because I would have gone to, where are we here? I mean, I'd be P1 roughly on this break, which I would have clipped the low, so that would have nearly taken all risk off the table immediately. And then I'd just be chilling on this push up here. I more than likely would have locked my 1-to-1, and then price would have retraced, never really hitting it, and then finally pushing up to the 2R target. The only thing that kind of caused me to hesitate a little bit was really the 10-minute time frame. Like it's not, there's no trend change on the 10-minute. Like this is purely really a 2-minute play. But the 2-minute price action is really solid for a nice, quick 2-to-1 just to the 10-minute 50. This isn't really set to push further, but I still have a bullish bias on this pair. I'm still waiting for a bullish breakout on the 1 hour time frame. So honestly, now as I'm thinking about it, this is the third trade now that has been in front of me on dollar CAD in the past 2 days that I have failed to take. And they've all been solid trades. So interesting. So either way, if I would have entered this when I needed to, that would put me over 2R for the day. But fortunately, still sitting at a little bit profit, but not too much. Would have been nice to also get into this pound CAD, which the pound CAD was capturable. I just would have had to lower my entry point a pip or two. And if I did that on stuff like I would be raising my entry a pip or two to something like that, which would cause this target to miss. It wouldn't have hit, because I'm pretty sure after it tapped that, it completely retraced. Yeah, I mean, it retraced pretty hard here. It would have tapped me out if I had just left it to see what would happen. So I mean, there's the pros and cons, right, to switching management styles, to switching entry styles, to being a pip or two higher. It's like this trade wouldn't have played out for 2R if I was a pip or two higher. But I still would have been able to enter it, but it probably would have been a 1R trade instead of a 2. If I was, 2 pips lower on this trade, I would be able to enter it, and I would have captured 2R. So I would have lost 1R on dollar CAD, but I would have gained 2R on pound CAD. So it would have been a net positive 1R in that kind of example. And Euro Yen, though, I still probably, I think, would have been able to capture 1R here. Just depends. Because it would have pushed it up, so my 1R would kind of be sitting like here-ish. So I wouldn't have been able to do much here. But probably when price pushed right there, I'd move it to 1R and then get tapped out and it retraced. So still probably been able to capture the 1R there. And an increased entry on this of like a pip or two. It throws the target way off, which means I would have to tighten this position size. Probably. So I bet like 6 pips. or so. 7 pips. Something like that. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a loss either way, but this would probably been a full loss at that point. Or you still be able to clip. Probably been a similar loss if managed correctly. No. So switching to a pip or two higher on the entry above a level would have, I mean, technically maybe be able to catch that dollar Mexican with a little bit higher of an entry. But either way, that's my day. 2 trades, 1 win, 1 loss. Feel overall okay about the day. Just mainly wish I would have executed what I need to on this dollar cat trade. And that's all I've got. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. See ya.